open the meeting, call the meeting to order at 6:35. And the first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the regular town meeting, or the regular meeting held on January 9th, 2018.
Motion we approve.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item 3 is an appointment to the Conservation Inland Wetlands Commission. We made some appointments a month or so ago, and one of those left an alternate position available. I got a letter from John Wojtovic, I think is how you pronounce it. Sorry, John. And I met with him this week. He's got his degree in environmental science right now. He's changed courses and is working as a teacher up at John Winthrop, a special ed teacher.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He's very knowledgeable. He's got a lot of interest in participating in town, and he felt that the Wetlands Commission would be a good place for him to start. This is for an alternate position with a term to expire on December 1st, 2020. So if we can get a motion to appoint him, or if you have any more conversation.
I'd like to make a motion for John Wojtovic, sorry if I pronounce it wrong, for an alternate on the Conservation Inland Wetland Commission, term to expire 12/1/2020.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next is, okay, I handed out to you guys a letter from Dick Layton, the building official, regarding reimbursement of a fee for a building permit. Statutorily, the building official has the ability to issue these, but the Board of Selectmen needs to approve it. This is for a fellow who was going to put some solar panels on his roof. He came in, applied for the permit. The permit was issued, the fees were paid. So somewhere along the line, they determined not to install them. So he withdrew the request for the permit. As a result, gets a reimbursement. Not the full amount, because there was some time and money spent. But the better part of it, I think he's looking to have $284.68 is what he paid. The recommendation is a 60% refund, which would be $172.82 would be reimbursed. So we need to move and vote on that if you guys are all set with it.
Yeah, make a motion that we reimburse 60% of the original fee, which I think you said is $172.82.
$170.82.
$170.82 for building permit 17030, which was withdrawn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next is another appointment. I think I handed you out a memorandum from Amy, town clerk, Amy Michelle. There are sub-registrars, which I think help out with Amy during burials and deaths, permits and things like that. Their term only runs as long as she is in office, but they are appointed by her but confirmed by us. These two are continuing as they have in the past. Sam Fulganetti and Jordan Wells, both of whom are down at Robinson and Wright.
Yeah, they're good people.
Yep.
Know them well.
Yep. So we need to vote to confirm and approve them as their appointments for the length of and as this describes, with a term not to extend beyond the current town clerk's term.
Okay. Make a motion that we approve Sam Fulganetti and Jordan Wells of Robinson, Wright, and Weimer as sub-registrars with a term not to exceed beyond the current town clerk.
Second it?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. If we could add, I need a motion and a second to add an item of another appointment to the Board of Deep River Public Library. We had a vacancy came in. Michelle Empfinger moved out of town very quickly, and we need to replace her on that term. This term will will expire November 19th in 2019. It's just to finish up this year, and then person will run.
Okay, Michelle's last name again?
Emfinger, Emfinger.
Okay, so
So we need to, first we need to add that to the agenda, and then we can,
so move to add it to the agenda?
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and now we just need to discuss that. Now, Annie Lewis is, she's moved into town about 8 years ago. She's been on the Friends of the Library Board for 4 years. She's got a couple of kids in the nursery school, and has expressed an interest in filling that. I spoke with a couple of folks, and they recommended that she be moved forward, so.
Okay.
Ann Lewis is her name. And her term will expire 11/19/2019. So if we can just get a motion to appoint Ann Lewis to the Library Board of Trustees, term to expire 11/19/2019.
I can make a motion for Ann Lewis to be appointed to the Board of Library Trustees, term to expire 11/19/2019.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Any other business or any questions from the audience of citizens? No, go ahead.
I have a quick question. What happened to the Crown Vic? Did it sell by bid?
It is, we opened those bids on Thursday, the
Oh.
25th. Yeah. I think I might have misspoken that last time. But, yeah, the 25th is when that was posted for, and that's when we will open. We've got, I think, 3 envelopes to open. So,
Thank you.
she'll be gone soon.
Oh, boy.
Cool. If there's not anything else, I want to, just some good news for our budget and for our fund, and I'm sorry, Dave's not here. First meeting he's not been at in a long time. But the Energize Connecticut, which is part of the Deep Rivers, or the Bright Idea Grant that came along, we earned a $5,000 grant from Eversource if we, some sort of energy saving program. While the state has discontinued the program, we wanted to take advantage of that $5,000, so we've applied for that, and we're approved, and actually put the check in the bank today for energy management system down at the library, the elementary school, and here at the town hall. We're working right now in the library, so that'll go right towards getting that heating and air conditioning system working on a regular basis.
That would be good.
So-
Oh, what, the library, town
Yeah,
hall?
library, the town hall, and the elementary school. We have some folks in EEC are conducting a study right now to work on energy efficiency in those 3 buildings. At the same time, that they've already suggested some alternatives for the library, and they're broken already anyway. They're barely working, so we're going to put that towards that.
That's terrific, jeez.
Plows
Plows are all working right now.
Hopefully we won't need them
Hopefully we won't
anymore.
need them anymore.
Come on, Dwayne, you know we need another 3 feet.
No, we're good, leave it up.
The ice dam is broken. Apparently they got through the bridge today. I don't know how far they got past the bridge, but I was down at high tide just to see if anything had happened yet here in Deep River. No, we were okay during all of that. We didn't really suffer much. The marina was underwater for a little while, which froze right up, but they're in pretty good shape right now.
That was some
according to
heavy duty ice up there.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And that's that. We're working out. I'll speak a little bit to the Board of Finance tonight about the school. That has become kind of a real money pit, if you will. And I'm going to suggest to them that we find someone, an architect or an engineer, or someone to conduct a study over there, a facilities review, a survey, if you will, of the building, and see. We know we need a new roof. We know that the heating system needs to be supplemented
This is
in
Irving.
the library.
This is Irving.
Hmm?
This is which school?
The
Elementary.
elementary
Oh,
school.
the elementary, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And I think we might actually employ, if the price is right, we might employ them to do all 3 buildings, the library, the town hall in there, because I know there's work here that, you know, there's some evidence that water's coming through the roof again, and we don't want that to continue here. As I said, the library is just should be looked at, so we'll see. We're gonna go out to bid on that stuff and see what we can get. Hopefully with the library, the roof is 20 years old. We have got a proposal on that. Obviously we'll have to go out to bid on it, but we've got a proposal. We know it's gonna be a couple $100,000. But the state has a good school construction program, which they will, hopefully we'll get a good portion of what we need. Deep River is in a pretty good position to try for that. So we're gonna see if it's available, see what's available, and try to work towards that. And I'll talk a little more later on tonight about that. So unless anybody has anything else, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
So motion.
Second?
All those in favor?
Good evening, this is the January 2018 meeting of the Deep River Board of Finance. Our agenda calls for approval of last month's minutes. May I have a motion to accept or to discuss?
So I wasn't here, so.
You're not going to accept them.
I'll second it.
So moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Cool. Audience of citizens.
Big future.
I do not see, well, I see lots of folks, but none of them seem to be waving their hand to speak, so we will, hello.
Well, that was a fair
And
catch.
hello, fair catch, that is exactly so. I will move on to treasurer's report. Tommy, all yours.
Well, we ended the year in pretty good shape. We had $1,657,000 over on our operating account, and between our general fund and our Farmington account, money market account. I have made two transfers this year. On January 10th, I made a transfer to Farmington Bank for $1.2 million from our general fund, and then on January 12th, I made another one for $650,000. So I made a total of $1,850,000 in two transfers. I was in contact with Kathy today. Lisa had about $183,000 that she was actually giving Kathy for deposit. We should probably get about $2 million, I would say, in the next week. So, and Farmington Bank still has a decent rate of 0.50. So it's money there. We can get a little interest. The other thing I was going to mention too is that on Tuesday, February 6th at 4 o'clock, we will have a meeting here at the town hall to review our pensions for the town employees and the firefighters. And I know Bud and Angus will be there. We've got Pete Lewis as a representative for the town employees, Scott Bowden representing the Deep River Fire Department. James Sullivan and Dave LeMay will be here from Essex Financial Services. Certainly, if anyone wants to come and listen, there's certainly an open meeting. It's not closed to anyone else. So if you'd like to attend, you certainly can.
When's that again, Tom?
It's Tuesday, February 6th at 4 o'clock.
Now, have you invited everyone as you have in the past to that meeting?
Yeah, I know there was. I know you brought up the who's the fellow that.
Bill from the pension service. He attended last year, or the last meeting we had.
Yeah, I don't know.
The actuary?
The
Yes.
Oh, he was
actuary,
very sure.
Yeah, and I don't know who invited him. That was the first time that I've been at a meeting for a while that the actuary was there.
If you remember, or my recollection of the meeting is that he didn't have much to say until we started asking him questions. And as soon as we did that, Essex Financial kind of stepped back. So I'm trying to contact him as I talk to Tom and ask him to invite him to come maybe a little bit later, so he doesn't have to sit through an hour listening to those guys and then speak. So if we can get them both here, we can get good information from both sides.
And to that point, I thought the initial meeting was marketing.
Yes.
And this fella added some substance and
Yes.
really made us begin to think about it.
Yep.
I hope this meeting is at least what Angus and I have chatted, is somewhat of a kickoff to a more detailed review of our pension. I believe that we as a board have an obligation to periodically do a due diligence to our pension. That due diligence is, matter of fact, I didn't prepare this, so I'm going to make up what I'm going to say. And I want it to be able to expand over time. But I want a comparison of what their returns are for us compared to others. I want to look at their costs, and whether we should be increasing our funding or those kind of issues. I would anticipate that following this meeting, we would ask other potential, and Angus and I have had some people drop in already, other people to come in and carry on conversations with us. I'm not sure, I'm not suggesting we will put it out for a formal bid or anything, but I just think we have an obligation to look at the cost and the returns this group does compared to others.
And I did let him know that.
Good.
I did say that, the town might be looking to, just for
Just
information
shop, you know.
and whatever. So, yeah,
Cool. So
Thank you.
I hope you can bring in some
I
information
said that
like
James
that.
Sullivan.
The last one was a little too marketing for me. So I'd like to get into a little bit more detail on cost and that type of thing and share those things.
I can tell him that.
I think it's appropriate too, rather than catch them.
Yeah, I'm not sure who you want to invite. Certainly, if you want to give me names, I'll contact, or if you want to contact whoever you think might.
Oh, I think we'd like to get some input from you. I know you're in a little sticky situation there, but we will communicate with you about how we're doing it. We're inviting, and hopefully you'll attend.
Yeah, I could also ask maybe John, former chairman of the board, John Bauer, to see if he has any recommendations too.
That's a
Actually,
good
I
idea.
chatted with John when he was here. I'm not sure I was here at the time, but anyhow, they did exactly what we're attempting to go through, and he actually had recommended other people to bring in. So, but you can certainly talk to John. That is,
If, for names,
Yep.
if you want to.
That's a good idea.
excellent idea. So,
Okay.
yeah, perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to get back to James Sullivan. So you want a little bit more detail as far as,
Cost and returns and that type of thing.
okay. All right. Anything else you want me to tell? Ask him.
How do they allocate our funds? Does he have do they have an investment philosophy that we should be revisiting from time to time, the level of aggressiveness, et cetera?
We should get a very good report this time.
I think so.
If you don't, we're in trouble.
I think you're right.
But it's an excellent question. The market has done very well.
Yeah.
So to walk in here with a big number, there's a temptation to think, wow, isn't this great? Except there are other people who could have gotten bigger numbers. We may, as a group, have taken on more or less risk in the investment portfolio. I don't know, okay? And that's one of the things I wish to pursue. Just a big number. I have a dentist, unnamed, in fact, I probably not, who brags to me every year about the returns he and his sister get on their investments. Well, with a little bit of work, if he had a chat before I came in, he would find out he's generally about 5 or 6% below the market as a whole. Okay? If he had just invested in a strip or an index fund, he would have done better, and I would have been able to get my my dental work done quicker. But anyhow, it's just a big number is not particularly satisfying.
I think that was the concern last time too, is,
All right,
So-
good. Tell me, so we have, share how much money what is the date of January 22nd? You gave me that number. Correct. January 22nd, we have approximately $4 million of cash sitting in a bank, correct?
Well, we have the $3,507,000 with Farmington. We've got, in our general fund right now, we have over $500,000. We do have a small amount at Liberty Bank
And that is your disbursement. We have about $3.5 million, four. I'm gonna go with 4, right?
yeah, right now. Yeah.
So let's walk, I have no idea what, so this board said to Angus and I, you cannot undertake borrowing, which we did not. unless you perceive yourself to fall below, was it $1 million and a half?
Million and a half.
In December, Lisa collected about $1.5 million, okay? So, seems to me we got close, we didn't need to borrow, but we said, and it's an interesting number you're suggesting. My looking at the financial report would indicate that we're about 3 million below where we budgeted. Your number about 2.5 is what, based on what, prior experience? If people don't pay in early January, they will wait to the very end, I would think.
You're gonna see next week that
2.5 is a nice number.
that's a lot, there'll be a lot of money coming in, yeah.
Excellent, good. Okay, done.
Question, when do we receive LoCIP and when do we receive Pequot? Or are we anticipating receiving anything? I know it's in the budget, but
I don't expect that we'll see LoCIP.
at all?
Yeah. Pequot, Pequot, I don't know when that comes.
And the big thing is too, the education grant monies will be hopefully coming in.
Right.
In February, we get 25%. In April, we get 50%, and then in October, we get another 25%. So hopefully the state is going to,
If they hold to their budget,
yeah.
then we'll be okay.
This is the conversation we had earlier on. I was going to sort of hold it off to selectmen's, but February seems to be a month when numbers should be coming in and the state's going to
Right.
slow down their expenditures. We will begin to see it, and we'll have to make some decisions accordingly, so. Okay. I've lost my place. What is next on our agenda?
So, recommendations of select.
Oh, recommendations. Here we are. Recommendations, selectmen. Angus, I bet.
Segue right into that. Yeah, and just to continue with your thought there, but if the state, from what I understand, the legislature is not even going to, they're not gonna start early or anything, they'll go into session in the middle of February. At that point, you know, the governor has already put together some suggestions of what he wants to do, which is gonna be, again, some draconian cuts. We just have to see where they're gonna land. At this point, we don't know. I'll be up at the Capitol tomorrow. Try to get some input, but we don't know until they all get together.
I assume everyone of similar title to you is asking the same question.
Yep.
but,
Yep, that's exactly right, so we don't know.
You're going to the Capitol tomorrow, is there like a contingent going, or is that?
No, the River Cog is going up. We're
Oh, I see,
having a
okay.
meeting there, we'll meet with representatives, and we'll meet with a bunch of folks, so. And we'll see, I don't know that we'll get a whole lot of news until they get back in session. But let's see, recommendations. One good news, I shared with the Board of Selectmen earlier, we received a $5,000 grant to work on our energy management system down at the library and here at the town hall and at the elementary school. And that'll be nice. We've got to spend about $5,000 or $8,000 on the heating system at the library, so this will be a nice push towards that. That program was ended. We got that $5,000 as part of a grant with the EverSource, with saving. If we save enough money or save enough energy over the course of enough time, they will award these grants. We did just by virtue of putting gas in here and in the school. So we became eligible for it. When they decided that they were going to end it, we determined that rather than build it up over years to a sizable amount of money, we would spend it before they ended it. So that's where we're at. The elementary school we all know that there are some leaks in it. They're getting worse. We need to do something on the roof. The heating system there, not the gas heating system, but the heating system there has always been underpowered when you get to the extremes. The library and the gym have always been cold. I think, what I'm told anyway is that the librarian who retired last year didn't care about the cold. The new librarian does. So we've been having to deal with it a little bit more, or hearing about it more. I never really heard about it until this year. During that cold snap, we had to rent a heater to supplement the heat. You might have seen the generator in front of the building. So what I'm going to suggest, and this is really just kind of new thought, but I'm going to suggest that we hire out someone to, an engineer or an architect or folks that survey the building, if you will, and see what the roof needs to be done, the heating system needs to be done, what else, what infrastructure on the building needs to be done, so we can get a plan together instead of throwing patch money at it. Because that seems to have been the program in the recent past, is we're just going to throw 20,000 here and patch the roof and 20,000 here. It's a 20-year-old roof. I think we can find money in this school construction program to where we can get some money from the state towards that. So I'm exploring that. But I'd like to, I have no idea how much it's going to cost right now, so I can't say I want to have authorization to spend some money, because I don't know how much it'll be, but by next month I will have an idea, and we'll have some suggestions on who we're going to hire and what we're going to do, because I do think it's valuable information. We can actually get a plan together as to what needs to be done now, what needs to be done in 5 years, what needs to be done in 10 years, that kind of thing. And I would, if the prices are right, if the people are, maybe give us a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-1 bargain, I'd like to have them do that with all 3 buildings, the town hall, the school, and the library. So we can have a good plan for how to move forward with all of the buildings, all the public buildings. So I'll have more information for you on that. The fire department was invited here today, but they've been working. I spoke with a couple of members over the last couple of days, and they're working. They've been shopping. We know we've been talking about a fire truck, the need for a fire truck, and they've been shopping as opposed to having a new construction. They've been looking at demos and different trucks to try to find some different options. And they asked if they could put coming to this board off until next month. So they want to be here next month, and they'll be on the, if we can schedule them now, they'll be here. Along those lines, they also asked for an informal meeting between then and now to have some conversation. I'm not sure how informal it should be, but I think we should, I'd like to schedule a meeting with them. Maybe not with your full board, maybe if Bud and me, and one other member or 2 other members or something like that want to come, we can try to schedule it. But I don't think a full board is necessary or manageable for something like this. I think it'd really just be a conversation. So if you guys are amenable to that, you can just tell me who, and I'll try to schedule it.
It depends on when you schedule it,
Mhm.
because I'm never available during the week, but evening, weekend, yeah. I can work it out.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's,
Still gotta pay bills.
yeah, so does everybody, and that's one of the wonderful things about trying to schedule. And that's why I think a few members is better than trying to schedule everybody.
Yeah, and I don't know.
And-
Yeah, maybe during the weekend or something like that, but I think that's a good idea, just to have an informal.
Well, a meeting beforehand, a conversation.
Yeah.
We've had some conversations, and they were helpful.
Yeah.
To give out them an idea of where I'm thinking, where Bud's thinking, and also what they're thinking.
But then it comes back to us and we think about it, we give you more questions.
Yep.
And then it all comes out to a public meeting where everything that was discussed is then brought forward. And that's-
Yeah, well, right.
has
And it
to
gives
be-
them an idea, so they're not caught off guard. They can prepare some answers to questions like, how many calls do you go out? They're not going to be able to answer that often. More important to me is how many fires, how many accidents.
Do we have enough staff to actually maintain all,
Yep.
respond to all these vehicles and handle them appropriately?
So that's what I'd like to do.
Anyone for finance have any concerns? I get concerned with informal meetings.
Yeah.
And,
No, we'll schedule it, and we'll make sure that the public is aware of it.
and certainly there will be no commitments made, but it's a thin line when people start saying, here's what I'm going to say at the meeting, and we say that doesn't fly. It begins to be an odd sort of, but Bill was with us at the last one, and I sort of asked Bill to raise his hand and say maybe he could be with the next one, so. But you have a very active social life, so you're not always available for.
Oh, I'm around.
So it's like quiet now, it's winter time.
Winter time. We sit in the basement in the dark. Can't afford this.
I'm generally around here
Good.
somewhere.
Excellent. All right, so we will try to proceed with that. All right. So you're not, certainly not asking for anything on, I refer to it as an engineering report. At one time I had responsibility for all the real estate and Northeast utilities. And we would periodically bring in firms that specialize in going through buildings and assessing type things. I mean, it gave us a direction on what needed to be done on what time frame. And it's not that expensive. It's not, I mean, there's no perfect, but they give you directions here statistically where these systems begin to.
No, I think I guess it'll be somewhere between $3,000 and $8,000, something like that, maybe more, but I don't expect them to do less. Because that, I think they'll have to get into the rafters and do some finding around.
All right, but you're not asking for anything.
I don't have
there.
a number to ask for, I'm not gonna say, give me up to 20,000 on it.
And we have talked with these boards before about the school has leaky roofs. That seems to be an
Well,
acceptable thing to have.
It is, but I don't agree with the idea of going on a 20-year-old roof, doing it in patches, I think we should do the roof, it's time, it's 20 years old. But that's a lot of money.
Some of it was done recently.
A portion of it was done 8 years ago. And I think, yeah.
Okay.
And, you may be right, there may have been a patch
He'll sign
done in like
on these.
kind of a joint, yeah. That may have been patched. But it doesn't make sense to me to keep patching on an old roof that's that old. So,
That roof is not conducive to doing a section, that sort of thing. It's like you gotta do the whole thing or just patch it.
well, there is a section that's 8 years old. That section we won't redo. But the rest of it, I think, needs to be. And, the patches are coming all over the place. And some of them, they're finding, wood that's rotten underneath. I think at that point, you need to start evaluating the whole thing. And I think in the long run, we save money by doing it all at once.
Okay. Other business, how about our budget? Have people gotten an opportunity to glance at our current status of our budget? Again, I think revenues seem to be coming in, revenues in terms of property tax revenues seem to be coming in rather briskly. And we seem to be on budget for the revenues, other than, as we're repeating ourselves, we wait for the state to tell us if they intend to live up to their commitments to date. How about expenditures? Anyone have questions on expenditures?
I didn't see anything.
I think we're
Blare it
in
out
good
at me.
shape. I'll have some answers for you by next meeting about the elections. There's definitely some weird things happening there, the registrars. And I'll have that cleared up a little bit for you.
How about a conversation about the highway department?
Pardon? Pardon?
It hasn't gone up in the last month.
No, they haven't been doing it. Doesn't matter.
Well, last time they didn't do it, it went up to about $3,000.
Yeah.
Could you comment on the highway department?
Sure.
It seems to be amply, actually almost under budget, but that's somewhat deceiving. You've done some road, we had to move 50,000.
Yep.
Town gave, we put that in, we've got 48 left. Haven't spent any town, would you comment on I'm not gonna sit here and go through numbers. Would you
Well, one
comment?
of the things here, the town aid road maintenance line, you'll see that as 198,000. And we haven't spent any of it. We haven't spent any of it because we got 50% of it in the end of November, which was too late. The plants were closing. It's too late to do anything. If that holds, we'll have 198. We'll get the other half, I think, in March. So, if that holds, then we'll have that 198. We'll work. We'll use it all to pave some roads. If it doesn't, then we'll have to cut back on our plans a little bit. MS4, that money will be, most of that money will be spent in the spring, working on catch basins and things like that. The highway maintenance, we just spent a pretty good chunk of change, 20,000 on getting the trucks ready for the winter. And while they are ready for the winter, I will say that 2 of our trucks are in tough shape, one of which we will have to replace. It's in bad shape.
Is that the one that's been talked about recently?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. As far as the general road maintenance, we're at, we paved a bunch of roads with that money. Or not a bunch of roads, we paved 2 roads this summer to do that. And the equipment, that's where we're at with it. I think that's everything. Contingency storms, I think some of the money that we spent on that was not taken from that line because that should be a little bit lower at this point. We spent, I would suggest we spent about $6,000 on sand and salt already this year, so maybe a little more. So we'll get that, you'll see that in its right place next time.
And you want to go over police protection?
The vehicle maintenance, we have a vehicle in the police line that needed something going on.
We've had,
Specifically,
I have to find that for a minute, but we had, Ray's car was having some trouble with some of the electronics. Yeah.
If you notice speaking of police funding, expenditures we've overexpended, this is the special funds, we've overexpended by 37,000. But if you look at revenues, we've overcollected by about 40,000. It goes the opposite direction when you look at it, but I'm not sure exactly what to do with that, other than it seems like a good story.
We're working to get the billing out on that on a more appropriate
Working on that.
schedule.
Are we getting anywhere with the state as far as Dawn's car, anything like that?
I promised Dawn I wouldn't start screaming about that until February, so. I talked with her yesterday about it, there was a fleet of Explorers, or Explorer-like cars, whatever those cars are now, that are being looked at and worked on. She's been promised one, when it gets here, I don't know.
As we continue, Park and Rec, it's always worthy of pausing at Park and Rec, except I never know exactly what to say, it's sort of a mystery. They've got 38% of their budget left. They have collected to date, they virtually, remember they have self-funded, we assumed $90,000, which they've collected about $90,000, it's only partially through the year, so I assume that they will continue to collect. So I don't know what to say with Parks and Rec, or it's just a bit of a mystery.
I don't know what to say either. We did change some of the lines on that. We added the self-funding and things, so I'm kind of watching it carefully to see, just to see. It is one of those anomalies where you've got money coming in and money going out. Just trying to keep up with them.
And it's got some seasonality to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Their new computer system programming is working and keeping the need for extra staff down because that is working.
Yes, that's working great. I was talking with Bud about that a couple of weeks ago, and we are setting it up so that it can be, so that people can pay via credit card over the internet and all that kind of thing. So
Okay.
that'll be a big help too.
And as you come down the line for expenditures, let's stop for a moment on redemption of debt. We have a line item referred to as Fire Highway Department Truck, which I think just by its title creates an opportunity to say things. Those things are, when I first joined this board, John Bauer explained to me that every 5 years we replace a fire truck. and comes out of that line. That final 144, the last payment, we own the truck. There's an assumption on the part of the fire department that we will then get another truck, which is the conversation they're having. If you were to do a calculation like a banker for $650,000 at about 3% interest rate, it comes out to about $144,000. So conceptually is a straight line through. Except by what you look at that other concept, highway department. I'm not marrying two concepts, but Angus just told us we've got a truck that needs to be replaced.
A town
Do the
vehicle.
two potentially compete against each other is merely the question that I wonder.
Good question.
I don't know the answer. I'm not even sure it's a valid question. It's just,
It's a
it's a
town
line
vehicle.
item. It's what the line item says. It's one or the other is what the line item says. That's all I
I
say.
know, but it's still a town vehicle. We need certain town vehicles,
We
and are
do.
the vehicles that we have sufficient? No. Do we need
You
to
mean
put the
the-
money,
we-
in general,
In general?
in general, are the vehicles that we have, maybe we need to be using some of that money in some other place? Do we have a building that can even house them all properly? The ones we currently have, never mind something new. So,
You talking about the town crew or you talking about firehouse?
both,
Good. All right, I just
both,
thought I'd pause.
as far as I'm concerned. Maybe that money can be spread around a little bit. I'm not sure.
Well, that's kind of the thought, I think, that certainly I'm looking at. You know, we put off buying this, you know, in order to keep our taxes, our increases in our taxes as low as we can. As a result, we are in a position where we need some trucks. Some of these things we just can't continue to repair. I don't wanna buy a body for a 20-year-old truck that's used used a lot.
Used hard
Yeah,
in the winter.
What's a rough estimate for a highway truck?
don't have that yet.
Some of the fire trucks are more expensive than others, too.
Yes.
The program is to
Yeah.
replace all of the trucks every so many years.
Yeah,
Some of them are 300,000-400,000, some of them much
Mhm.
more than that.
that's right.
I wonder whether in past years, the plan was perhaps to replace a plow truck or,
Mhm.
a highway department truck at a time when one of the fire trucks was a little bit less expensive. I don't know that, but I just thought.
It could be, it certainly would make sense. Good planning would certainly try to do that. I don't know what a highway truck is. I know that a
Where to
pickup
follow
truck
up
is.
what Russ is saying, if it was a down year, it was a shorter, a $250,000 or $300,000 fire truck,
Yep,
and you can spend another $150,000, I don't know, for a highway truck, now you can kill two birds with one stone.
yeah. I gotta think it's considerably more than that. If a good pickup truck is 60 grand. So, you know. I don't know. I think we're probably looking at a couple hundred, but that's a guess.
Right.
We could look, just begun international. We just looked at an international truck, but we didn't even talk price. It was just.
My truck at my house is 18 years old this year, and you're welcome to come borrow it anytime.
How much sand and salt will it hold?
Not very much.
Got two more
Well,
payments?
that's an interesting. That's part of the thing with these trucks, they're multi-use. We don't buy a truck just for plowing and sanding, we use it for moving things around. I'm not sure that that's the best idea. It wears them down. It beats up, the moving parts in a truck shouldn't necessarily have rocks and trees dropped on it.
But if you have a storm and there's trees on the road, they gotta be cleaned up.
They gotta be moved.
They gotta be moved.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a hard life, those trucks.
Yeah, they do. So that's the dilemma that we're in right now. We're obviously working towards a budget, and we're going to work towards how we can do this in a way that we can afford.
All right, other business, although I think we crept into other business. Laurie has sent out a schedule, I think is the title.
Oh, that's
Were you-
old, that's just,
Yeah, wait, you sent it
that's
the other day,
December.
right?
Yeah, I sent it
Okay.
just because somebody said, hey, I can't
Oh, okay,
remember, so
all right,
it's
but
just a
anyhow,
reminder.
we have all of our, we begin our workshops in March.
Yes, first Tuesday in March.
Tuesday in March. Oh,
Next
very good point.
Tuesday.
7 o'clock, excellent.
I'd like to ask a question, and I admit I missed a lot of the selectmen meetings lately, in fact, all of them, in fact. But and if you've talked about this on camera before, make it the Reader's Digest version, I don't wanna bore people, but at the dump, the new compact.
Compactor.
Is that going forward, is that?
Yeah, no, we've got it in place. We were looking for weather and time. Didn't have that at all.
You don't work on a 7 below?
What's the problem?
It's just the installation. It was gonna be a 10-day process, and we've got to have 10 days in a row that we can work out there.
It's not gonna be easy.
Yeah, it's, yeah. Well, we want to get it in as soon as we can. You know, I think we're so far, we've done pretty well with the patch that we put in it. And it may have gotten a little complacent with that in the summertime. But fall came and we just ended up really busy. I did not want to be out there working in the heat, because with the, you know, just garbage and critters and things, but I also don't want to be out there in 0.
Hey, 7 degrees, you're not smelling any garbage. That's
I don't know, you're moving, I don't know you're moving it either. We took a truckload of garbage to the dump and dumped it, and it was frozen in place.
Stay right there.
I mean, that was a light load that we got charged for.
Yeah, you can't do that work when it's very cold, because things don't work, like
Yeah.
your fingers and the tools and so forth. I understand
Yeah.
that completely.
We have a plan in place for the mechanical part of it, the repair. What we need to do now is get a plan in place for what we're going to do with the dump. Are we going to rent a garbage truck to dump stuff in? Are we going to rent box trucks to just, you know, throw garbage into, or close the dump for 10 days? Closing the dump for 10 days is not a great option, I don't think, but it might be the only option.
Yeah, that, Alan and I were talking about that, I mean, leaving part of it open where the recycling and all that is,
Mhm.
leaving that open, people are gonna be dumping their
They might
garbage in
be.
there as opposed to
Yeah.
down, just because they can't get to that.
Yeah,
And, you know, doesn't happen, but it will.
right. So yeah, the answer is yes, it's, we'll get it in there.
Yeah. Good.
Any other questions? Can I have a motion for adjournment?
6, hot dog.
So many.
Okay.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Seconded.
It is done.
6, good.
It's done.